Now, here's a look at what's coming up in this edition of 15 News. The weather is getting nicer, but before you go springing into that outdoor exercise routine, you need to know how to warm your body up first. A physical therapist walks us through some stretches to start our workouts on the right track. We're blasting off to the latest exhibit at the Henry Ford Museum. We'll explore Apollo 11 and how it's inspiring future scientists. All of this and more coming up in this edition of 15 News. This year's Winterfest was a chilly blast and marked the end to a bitterly cold season. We've got your recap of this family-friendly celebration and a look ahead at other Southfield events.
I'm here with my 3 adorable children, and we plan to take advantage of everything that we have. We got fire pits out back with to roast marshmallows. We got the free ice skating. We have the police and fire department here. We have the Southfield Library. We have a whole bunch of activities. There's horse and buggy rides. Oakland County Parks and Recreation is here. They have a rock climbing wall. They have a ropes course, and they also have a big trampoline to jump on. I know that it's exciting. I'm going to try to do all of it with my kids, and I know they're going to try to do it all as well. It's a lot of excitement going on. It's extremely important for families in Southfield to come out and take advantage of free events that Parks and Recs puts on throughout the year, especially in the wintertime. Everyone's stuck at home, especially with COVID. This gives everyone a chance to come out, to have a good time. And we have a lot of programming that goes on throughout the year, and this will only give people a little taste of the wonderful things that Southfield has to offer.
The Southfield Veterans Commission recently donated $500 to help those in financial need in the area. Rhonda Terry with Southfield Human Services Department gladly accepted this wonderful contribution to put towards a community emergency relief fund, which includes financial and food assistance for local qualifying individuals and families.
Well, I have a partnership that started in 2000 with the Southfield Veterans Commission, and over the years they have donated over $3,000, and I have assisted 10 veteran families with that were experiencing hardships.
To learn more about Southfield Human Services and their programs, go to the City of Southfield's webpage.
Obesity is a real big problem amongst dogs and cats. It's something that we really need to take seriously because just like with humans, overweight pets can lead to many health problems down the road. So it's really important we take a look at what we're feeding our pets. Food is key, just like with us, and making sure that we have a diet that's high in protein and has good meat in it, but also doesn't have too many calories and too many fillers based on your dog's activity level. So one thing a lot of people don't think of is when they look at the back of a bag, it's going to list the requirements based on an average sized dog. That you have to keep that in mind. Larger dogs that aren't as active may not apply to that recommendation regarding the cups of food to feed per day. And a very small dog that may be highly active and runs around all day, that dog may need even more. So what you want to take a look at is generally the activity level, sitting around the house and being more lazy, if it's, or if it's got a real high, strong energy level. So those are things to keep in mind. In looking for a pet food, there's definitely foods out there that specifically do help with weight. This food in particular says fit and trim on the bag. You'll see healthy weight, reduced calorie, things like that. Take a look at the back of the bag. Make sure meat protein is the first ingredient. It's really important because a lot of foods are filled with carbs. You'll see corn, wheat, potatoes, things like that. High carbs turn to sugars, the sugars turn to fat, and that just keeps the problem going. So you want a lean diet, but you want to pay attention to the calories. When you're switching foods, always make sure to do this very gradually. It's something that you want to do over time. My recommendation is 10% of that new food every single day over the course of 8 to 10 days. So 10% today, 20% of the new food tomorrow, so on and so forth. That will ensure that you won't have any digestive issues from going from one food to another. You never want to switch cold turkey. Doing that, making sure that you've got a great diet that's complete and balanced, meat protein first, not full of carbs, and also keeping that activity level, getting out there and exercising, it's good for us too, is really important to keeping healthy weight on your pet.
Today's Raw Sock recycling tip, we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of recycling. This is a big don't. This person put all of their recyclables in a plastic bag. If you're going to collect your recyclables at home, consider using a paper bag, which you can just toss into the recycling bin, or a reusable bag that you can shake out your recyclables. When you're going to recycle that delicious drink that you've just polished off, please remember to take the lids and the straws and throw them in the trash. Your cup is then recyclable. Many of these little side condiments we get with our meals, please remember to check if there's a number. If there's no number, the lid goes in the trash. Another big one is styrofoam. We do not collect styrofoam for recycling. Unfortunately, in our area, styrofoam will need to be placed in the trash. So pizza boxes raise a lot of questions when it comes to recycling. They are recyclable as long as there's nothing inside and they are clean of food. If you do not have a liner in your pizza box and the bottom is heavily soiled with oil and food, please tear off the portion that can be recycled and throw away the soiled portion. Do you love to get your HelloFresh box? That's a great option, but please remember to remove the non-recyclable parts of the box. The box, yes, can be recycled. However, the plastic ice pack and the plastic liner that comes in the box are not recyclable. If you have any other questions, please contact Rawsock via our website at www.rawsock.org. And remember, when you're recycling, clean, loose, and dry is the way that we like to receive them.
Today we're here to talk to you about getting ready for springtime. A lot of people are ready for their outdoor activities, including gardening, walking, sports, so we're here to help you stretch. Let's get right into it. Today I'll be demonstrating to you 2 stretches. My stretches include a spinal extension or a back extension, and one for your chest. The first one includes stretching the front of your chest. What you want to do is scoot to the edge of your seat, kind of bring your arms out like this, hold for 5 to 10 seconds, and then slowly relax. Now, of course, if you feel like your balance is a little bit better and you're steadier on your feet, you can do this in standing. What I would recommend is that you go into a doorway, have your arms up, take 1 step forward with one of your feet and hold for about 10 seconds until you feel the stretch here in the front of your chest. The next stretch we're going to talk about is a back extension stretch. So a lot of people, when they get older, even when we're sitting at a computer, are always hunched over like this. So what you need to promote is back extension. So seated at the edge of your chair, you can put your hands on your hips and then slowly lean back. Again, holding for 5 to 10 seconds and then slowly returning to the beginning position. And again, if your balance is a little bit better and you feel more comfortable on your feet, you can do this in standing. Another way to do this is laying on your stomach. A lot of people are familiar with yoga poses, and this is one of them. If you put your arms out and kind of lift up at your shoulders and your arms, extending your neck, you'll feel the same stretch.
The popularity of horror movies has exploded over the past few years. Today on Pop Culture Update, we're going to visit Motor City Legacy, a convention that embraces all of these things: horror movies, horror memorabilia, artists, actors. And so we're going to do a deep dive into the horror community.
It's just, if you're into weird stuff and horror movies, this is a place to be.
Longtime special effects makeup artist Tracy No is the mad scientist behind the Motor City Legacy convention. His inspiration for creating this weekend-long horror-filled event was fueled by his love for the gore and the independent artists and writers that are the true backbone of the horror industry.
It's an interesting thing. Most horror people, they feel like they were outcasts, because we kind of are. But at a convention, I've never been to one in 20 years that there's ever been a fight, because we have that unique bond that we all get along because we love the same genre.
There's vendors here, there's artists here, there's movie memorabilia here. So if you're into films and you like collecting, this is the place to be.
Nice mishmash of horror and stuff, and I'm a horror writer, so that's why I'm here. I like to kind of get my books out, and I get to meet new people and network with a bunch of other writers and artists. It's a lot of fun.
The inaugural year of the Motor City Legacy Horror Convention was a highly attended event that brought in beloved scream queens and memorabilia monsters like Amanda Burst from Fright Night and James Duval from the cult classic Donnie Darko.
In my opinion, to be recognized or celebrated for anything that you've done entertainment-wise is above and beyond. You know, the opportunity to go in front of the camera and create something, that's a gift in all of itself. I try not to get too attached to the reactions, but as you can see, sometimes when you see the heartfelt, the happiness and the genuine excitement that the fans have, that feeds me.
While the horror genre does bring in a huge fan base, there are still many who are too scared to give it a try. Attending a horror convention like Motor City Legacy is the perfect place to explore and learn more about the behind the scenes of the industry.
Really cool about the horror community is a lot of people who are outside of it think that it's something that's super scary and like, oh, only bad people are into that. And everyone that I have ever encountered at any convention is probably like some of the nicest people I've ever encountered in my entire life. Such a cool feeling to be in this environment. It really is. And I don't know why people are afraid of it. I don't get it.
A fun fact about James Duval: he was born right here in the Metro Detroit area. And he's one of those guys where you say, I recognize him. Well, he's been in dozens of films. One of them you're definitely going to remember is his role in Independence Day. Well, what do you think? Are you willing to give a horror convention a try? Motor City Legacy will be back next year, and they'd love to see you in attendance. That's going to wrap it up here for our inaugural spot of Pop Culture Update.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Back on July 20th in 1969, American astronaut Neil Armstrong was the first person to walk on the moon. Along with his lunar team, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, their Apollo 11 mission was only the beginning of NASA's space exploration. From now through May 8th, you can explore behind the scenes of man's first steps on the moon at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn.
This exhibit has over 80 artifacts related to the space race. So we're telling the story of the space race from Sputnik in the 1950s, the first artificial satellite to be put into Earth's orbit, all the way up through the present day of space exploration. So in between there, of course, we have information and videos and artifacts about the early days of the space race and how President Kennedy made that proclamation that America would go to the moon in the 1960s. And then, of course, a lot about the Apollo 11 mission, which was the actual mission that landed on the moon for the first time.
This exhibit has garnered attention from all ages, including those who were alive during the Apollo 11 mission. Plus, it focuses not only on the technology behind the mission, but the cultural and political climate at the time as well.
We do see a lot of people who remember when these astronauts were on the moon, and so that's a very personal memory to them, and they remember what they were doing then and what their family was doing. They remember watching it for the first time. But we also have people of all ages who just love space. It's such a fascinating topic, whether you're into the science of it or how people live when they're in space, maybe some of the social history of it that we like to talk about here. So we also see families. And we see a lot of people bringing children here too, because they think it's a great topic. It's interesting and educational as well.
To learn more about the Henry Ford Museum and their exhibits, go to thehenryford.org. So that just about wraps it up for this edition of 15 News. Remember, you can follow all things Cable 15 by checking out our Facebook and YouTube pages. Just search Southfield Multimedia Services. I'm Jim Hall, and we'll see you next time.